Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are back live, continuing with your phone calls. Hollis in Indiana, former SWAT team member, says we woke him up in 2001. You were trying to make a point about the police really waking up now that you know, because of the flu shot, the talk of quarantine, the talk of locking down cities. Now, we're not saying that's going to happen. The feds are saying under level 6, under UN directorate, they may do it. And they're kind of doing a trial balloon right now. I don't think it's going to be successful. Just like they tried the Model States Health Emergency Powers Act in 2002, 2003, tried to force smallpox shots on 14 million first responders, doctors, nurses, firemen, police, city workers, county workers, federal workers. And the LA Times reported 99+% said no. Only 4,000 said yes to the smallpox shot, and it caused some autoimmune response in people's heart valves, and a bunch of people died of heart attacks. So they stopped it. Remember when Tommy Thompson, head of Health and Human Services, wouldn't take the shot himself and the whole program fell apart? So they're going to try again and try the next time. And there are some fools, sucker born every minute, as P.T. Barnum said, lined up getting the old last year's flu shot. Give you no protection from this year's normal flu or the supposed dreaded swine flu. But they don't care. They're lying. Just like they admit Gardasil doesn't protect little girls from the human papillomavirus. It says it on the insert. They still take it. In fact, people, search engine, go to startpage.com, that's a good search engine, or google.com, and just type in Gardasil deaths. Let's do that for people right now on screen, and you can just read all about all the deaths. But people don't care. And it's so sad because they just buy into the nanny government wants to take care of them. No. The White House science czar says they want to use vaccines to sterilize you and put sterilants in the water to sterilize you and have a planetary government to carry out the orderly extermination of 80% of the world's population. Eco-science. Go read it for yourself. People say, oh, well, he wrote this decades ago. Oh, really? We have him saying this stuff in 96. It's all coming up in the new film. Death toll linked to Gardasil vaccines rises. Companies include shock, foaming at the mouth, convulsions, and coma. That's WorldNet Daily, but you can click to Judicial Watch has it. It was also CBS News right there for you. But see, when I was reading the trials 3 years ago, and the large percentage of deaths and coma, and it was like Ebola. Blood starts pouring out of every orifice, the corners of the eyes, the ears, the mouth. I mean, it's just, we've shown video of it. We've had mothers on whose daughters are now in wheelchairs. I mean, and they give them one shot and they have a convulsion. Second shot a month later, bloody whelps. And they go, give them the third. We promise it's not the shot. Give them the shot. Dead. And they go, hey, Gardasil's got a federal liability protection. Your daughter's dead and there's nothing they're going to do about it. Ha, 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 ha. It's all real funny when you're a eugenicist. And again, that's all covered in my film, Endgame Blueprint for Global Enslavement. Nerve gassing our own troops, sterilizing children, sterilizing women, marching troops into chambers and nerve gassing them, radiating foster children to death. It's all in my film, Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement, free on YouTube and Google, or if you want the DVD, get it at Infowars.com. That's how you support us. And I do want to point out you can pre-order Camp FEMA, proving all the FEMA camps, all the programs, congressmen, FEMA camp survivors, civilian inmate labor camp program, where the camps are, how they're operating, how they're being set up, how they're going to roll them out as emergency relocation community centers, the mobile vans, the youth corps. That film I consulted on and that I'm in, can pre-order it right now at Infowars.com. But going back to Hollis. Hollis in Indiana, you were going to finish what you were saying about the flu shot before I went into a 5-minute rant.
Yes. It's just that I advised several other officers not to take that shot because I told them it will kill you or seriously injure you. And a lot of them weren't aware of it. You know, they weren't aware of the squalene and the mercury and the thimerosal and everything else in those shots. And also I was one of the ones that wouldn't allow my child to get the HPV shot, the cervical cancer shot. You know, I went through the medical exemption thing, and I remember the nurse looking at me like I wasn't supposed to know that, you know. But it was through shows like yours that let me know that that's what's going on, you know.
Well, that's when you know it's tyranny, is when you see on the news every year when school starts, you must take all the shots. Now it's 60-something, just 20-something a decade ago. and it's the law, and there's no exemption. And a lot of schools get, well, all of them get the bonus money if they get like 97%. It depends on the formula vaccinated. And so the nurses and people are told, you lose your job if you don't do this. So they'll lie and say there is no exemption for them. You'll go, well, you have to give it to me. It's law. No, there isn't. There isn't one. Then you got to go to the health department and get it. But you know you're in tyranny when they've turned the nurse and the principal into Nazi thugs, and they're lying, going, you must take the shot. No, there's no exemption. And they've got it right there behind them, and they're going, I get that bonus if I lie. I want to take that trip to Cancun. No, you got to take the shot. Then your daughter dies or has convulsions and is brain damaged, and they just laugh at you. And if you go get in their face at school, they pick the phone up and go, get a SWAT team in here immediately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you have to you got to laugh at it to keep from crying, because it's absolutely ridiculous. And I said years ago to my wife that when the stuff hits the fan, there's going to be a mass run for the exits, and we're not going to be able to leave. And sure enough, they're coming out with all these things like the where they're putting us all kind of watch lists and everything else. And like I said, I'm a police officer, and I believe in, even though I'm a police officer, I believe in people's civil rights. You know, and
well, that's your rights. That's your children's rights.
My children, my grandchildren, they're going to be the next generations that's going to be coming up, and I don't want them to be living in a Blade Runner kind of world.
It's going to be worse than that. God bless you, sir.
Worse, yeah, it's going to be worse. It's like I said, I see things that a lot of people don't see, and sometimes it's so maddening to me. I have to sometimes step back away from it and just to cool off from it. You know, and I have a officer, a friend, also he's a pastor. And he actually said he had to step away from the church. He said either I was crazy or I knew what I was talking about. So I told him, I said, look, just go investigate it yourself. Don't take my word for it. Check into it yourself.
And what happened to him?
He stepped away from the church, and he said he found out what I was saying was all true. And he stepped back, and he went back to his church, and he started telling everybody in his church what's going on, you know. God
bless you, sir. Good to hear from you. Keep calling. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's happening here. Remember 3 years ago when we broke on this network? Pastor Butch Paul, actually, the one that broke it. Then I separately had another pastor send me the info, and I had them both on, and that's when it got big. Hundreds of pages of secret FEMA documents about how they'd already covertly trained 13,000 pastors of major churches to tell their flocks, go to FEMA camps, take shots, turn in your guns, go along with socialism, or you're not Christian. And we broke this, and people thought the documents were fake. And then the feds went and checked phone records and tracked, and we were already under surveillance, and tracked back the preacher and went and threatened him. And then a year and a half later, it came out on the news that clergy response teams, just Google the term clergy response teams, and you can watch saying, oh, yes, the preachers, Romans 13, do what government says, it's of God, submit, which is was Hitler's favorite quote, Romans 13. He used that on the Germans. That was the main reason they did it. They said, it's of Jesus to do what I say. And they went, Heil Hitler, and literally went off the edge of the cliff with him. And so that happened. And then now, the last documents we got were in 2008. They had doubled the clergy response to 26,000. InfraGard, the last numbers we got were 2008. It was 55,000 executives are now armed national security spies with 007 license to kill their employees during martial law. And that's mainstream news. I mean, they just got spies all over the place. And now we suddenly see preachers on TV going, take the shot. Turn in your guns. It's of the Lord. Don't criticize government. Jesus says support what the government says. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I mean, this country is being taken over by scientific corporate offshore banks. And they mean business. Briefly, because I want to get into these documents, but Mark, I don't want you to say your full name or where you're calling from, but you're saying that you as a current police officer as a lieutenant that you're forced to show your roll call or the police officers at the start of the shift the video that you just heard us air?
Hi, Alex. Yes, they provide a DVD, and we were to show it to each of the roll calls, which we did, and there's a sign-up sheet that each officer has to sign that says that he watched the video.
Did the officers buy it? I mean, do they now think that every young lady is a murdering terrorist?
You know, there wasn't a whole lot of discussion over it. I think they just watched it and they went on. There wasn't any discussion with me, and they may have discussed it themselves, but yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, do they believe that they're just terrorists under every table?